Marvel Studios stole the spotlight at Comic-Con in San Diego after announcing their huge plans for the future of Marvel's cinematic universe. The Disney-owned studio revealed the titles for 5 feature films and 5 episodic shows that will all be part of Phase 4, and they even threw in a few more unexpected surprises. Now there's a lot to unpack, but don't you worry, we're going to break down all the big announcements right here. Hi, I'm Kristian from 1 Minute Critic for FilmIsNow. After Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home, MCU fans have been holding their breath, waiting to find out which direction the MCU will take Earth's mightiest heroes. But thanks to Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige, we all know how the MCU is going to play out for at least the next 2 years. I'm going to cover everything we know about these films or series, and to keep things simple, I'm going to talk about them chronologically in the order they're going to be released. But before I dive in, I'd love to hear which of these Marvel movies or series you're most excited for, so go ahead and let us know in the comments down below and let's have a discussion. Now to start things off, let's talk about Black Widow. This movie's set to hit theaters on May 1st of 2020, and this one is one of those movies we kinda knew was coming even though Natasha Romanoff took the fall in Avengers Endgame. She's finally getting her own movie that will be directed by Kate Shortland. Scarlett Johansson will reprise her role and will be joined by David Harbour, who's confirmed to play the Red Guardian, Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz. Now the movie's sort of a prequel because it takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War. They showed some footage of the movie in Hall H which included a fight between Romanoff and the villain who's now confirmed to be Taskmaster. Now since Romanoff is currently dead in the timeline, it does feel a little bit weird to have our next MCU movie be about Black Widow. It almost feels like it would have worked better if they released this movie back in Phase 3. Now following Black Widow and arriving on Disney Plus in fall of 2020, Marvel released its very first episodic television series, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, unlike Marvel's Netflix series, these Disney Plus series will be directly linked to the MCU. This one follows the adventures of Captain America's besties, Falcon and Bucky Barnes. We can assume the series will show how both Bucky and Falcon will share the mantle of Captain America, just like their characters do in the comics. Now, it was also revealed that Daniel Bruhl would be reprising his role of Baron Zemo, and they even showed some footage showing Zemo putting on his iconic purple mask, just like in the comics. Now, it sounds like this series won't go on forever. The limited series will probably only be about 6 to 8 episodes, and then it'll be done. And who knows, by the end of it, one of these guys might actually end up being Captain America moving forward. That brings us to the next installment of Phase 4, The Eternals. This will hit theaters on November 6, 2020, and it's directed by Chloe Zhao. The movie follows the Eternals, a race of beings created by the Celestials who were first introduced back in Guardians of the Galaxy. We see them in a flashback scene, and also Nowhere, that dead floating head in space that also belonged to a Celestial. And the movie will be loosely based on a mid-2000s run of the Eternals comic book series. Now this movie has a pretty incredible cast that includes Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Lauren Ridloff, Brian Tyree Henry, Salma Hayek, Don Lee, and Angelina Jolie. For the first MCU film of 2021, a classic Marvel Comics character will make his MCU debut in the film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Set for release on February 12th and starring a relative newcomer in Simu Liu, I hope I said his name right, he was officially cast by Marvel only a few days before they announced him at Comic-Con. Destin Daniel Cretton will direct this movie with a cast that includes Awkwafina and Tony Leung as the real Mandarin. That's right, as the title suggests, the Mandarin is back. If you remember back in Iron Man 3, we saw Ben Kingsley play an imposter version of this iconic Marvel villain, so Shang-Chi may actually have heavy connections to Iron Man 3. Only time will tell. Then, only a few months after Shang-Chi hits theaters, another episodic series, WandaVision, will arrive on the streaming service Disney+. This series, which in my opinion has the worst name and the ugliest title, will star Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. They'll both reprise their MCU roles as Scarlet Witch and Vision. And the show is described as a mega event series that will get pretty weird. And it'll be set after the events of Avengers Endgame, so it's not really clear how Vision, who was killed in Infinity War, will come back. Teyonah Parris will also co-star as a grown-up version of Monica Rambeau, who was introduced as a child in Captain Marvel. And it was also revealed in the panel that WandaVision will have very strong connections to another upcoming Marvel movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is actually the very next film in Phase 4 of the MCU. Set to be released on May 7th, 2021, Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson is returning, as well as Stephen Strange himself, Benedict Cumberbatch. And like I said before, it was confirmed that Elizabeth Olsen will be joining the cast as Scarlet Witch. Marvel is calling this one of the scariest MCU movies to date, and it will still be rated PG-13 and will take place several years after the events of both Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. And the film will supposedly be loaded with psychedelic visuals and villains from other dimensions and worlds, and as the title suggests, this could be our very first real dive into Marvel's multiverse. Only a few months and weeks after Doctor Strange hits theaters, Loki will be getting his own original series on Disney Plus in spring of 2021. And Tom Hiddleston is back as everyone's favorite god of mischief. But wait, isn't Loki dead? Didn't Thanos kill him in Avengers Infinity War? Well, this series picks up right after the events of Avengers Endgame when Loki escapes from S.H.I.E.L.D. using the Tesseract during the Avengers' botched time heist. And because of that, the Loki we're getting in this series has not gone through all the redeeming storylines that came after Avengers. Then, in the summer of 2021, Marvel is bringing its first ever fully animated portion of the MCU to Disney+, called What If. Marvel confirmed that actors from across the MCU will reprise their roles as voice talent in this show that will explore alternate outcomes to major events in the Marvel Universe. The show will also star Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher, possibly one of the ones we saw talking with Stan Lee back in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And if you take a close look, the show's logo may be hiding some hints about what we might see in the show. For example, in the very top left you can clearly see a zombified Captain America, which might hint at Marvel's popular comic book series Marvel Zombies as being part of the show. This will be unlike anything we've ever seen in the MCU before. Shortly after that, in fall of 2021, another Disney Plus series will hit the streaming service. Hawkeye will star OG Avenger Jeremy Renner and will take place after the events of Avengers Endgame. It was also confirmed that he will be training Kate Bishop, who in the comics eventually takes on the mantle of Hawkeye. The show will also explore some of Hawkeye's time as Ronin. But outside of that, we don't know much else about this series. And that brings us to the final announcement for Phase 4, Thor Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi will return to helm this film that stars Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson and will be released on November 5th, 2021. Waititi explained that he is pulling from a comic storyline called The Mighty Thor, which introduces a female Thor for the first time, and then announced that Natalie Portman will not only reprise her role as Jane Foster, but will also become the Mighty Thor Goddess of Thunder. And this film will wrap up Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But wait, that's not all! As the Marvel panel wrapped up, Kevin Feige dropped a few more bombs about projects to come after Phase 4. First and foremost, Feige confirmed that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is happening. The movie's been pushed back after the firing and rehiring of writer-director James Gunn. The delay comes because Gunn is currently working on DC's next Suicide Squad movie. Feige also confirmed sequels to Black Panther and Captain Marvel, and then he told the crowd that he didn't have time to talk about the Fantastic Four or those mutants, alluding undoubtedly to the X-Men. But with Disney's D23 Expo coming in August, it seems very likely we'll learn a lot more about what Marvel Studios is planning to do with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. But perhaps the biggest bomb came in the very last minute of the entire presentation, when Feige brought out two-time Academy Award-winning actor Mahershala Ali to help him announce that everyone's favorite vampire killer, Blade, will be joining the MCU. Feige later confirmed that Blade will not be a part of Phase 4, but will come later. No director or writer have been attached to that project yet. Well, that's a pretty incredible lineup we can look forward to. And it's easy to say that Marvel did not disappoint. But which of these announcements are you most excited for? I'd love to see what your reactions are, so go ahead and drop your comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Once again, I'm Kristian from 1 Minute Critic. Feel free to check out my channel where I do 1-minute movie reviews, ranking videos, and other movie-related content. The link is down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching Film Is Now, and we'll see you next time.